All right, let's get right into it. You know, saving your first $100,000 is a huge deal. It's a massive milestone. But here's the thing most people don't get. That's not the finish line. Nope, it's actually a pivot point, a moment where the whole game of building wealth changes. So today, we're gonna break down that exact pivot, how you go from the exhausting grind of saving to the almost automatic growth of a real wealth machine.
So, let me introduce you to Marcus. He's 31, he makes about $78,000 a year, and for the last 6 years, man, he has been disciplined. I'm talking brown bag lunches every day, no car payment, keeping roommates way longer than he probably wanted. And then, about 3 weeks ago, he opens up his banking app, and there it is. $100,247, a number with 5 zeros after it. But you know what? He didn't celebrate. He felt frozen, paralyzed. Because now he has to do something with it, right? His coworker is screaming crypto, his dad keeps talking about real estate, and then there's this little voice in his own head saying, hey, you've earned a break. And honestly, that last voice, that's the most dangerous one of all. Because the choices Marcus makes right now, in this moment, are going to decide if that number eventually turns into $2 million or if it just stays a number.
And that brings us to the first really big idea here. Hitting 100 grand isn't just a psychological win. It feels great, sure, but at this exact level, the math itself is genuinely structurally different from every single dollar you saved before.
You know, this classic quote from Charlie Munger just nails it. Most people get stuck on the first part. Yeah, the grind, the sacrifice, it's tough. But the real genius is in that second half. After that, you can ease off the gas a little bit. So, why? What is it about this specific number that changes everything?
Well, here's what changes. Your money gets a job. Think about it. At 100 grand, if we just assume a historical 8% return, your portfolio is now kicking off $8,000 a year, all by itself. That's like what, $667 a month just showing up, and you didn't have to clock in for a single minute. Your money now has its own salary. And this employee, it never calls in sick, it never asks for a raise, it just works.
And this acceleration is where the real magic happens. So it took Marcus 6.4 years of serious grinding to hit that first 100K. But the second one, that's only going to take him 4.2 years. And the third, just 3.2 years. By the time he's on his way to his fifth 100,000, it shows up in about 2 years. The math doesn't just get better, it speeds up. It's like a giant boulder that after all that pushing is finally rolling on its own.
Okay, so the only way to stop that boulder now is to fall into one of 3 very specific traps. And here's what's so dangerous about them. None of these look like mistakes while you're making them. In fact, they all feel responsible. They all feel safe.
So the first trap actually looks like wisdom. Marcus works so hard for this money, right? And the idea of losing even a little bit of it, he can't stomach it. So he sticks it all in a standard savings account. But what he doesn't see is that he's not protecting it at all. He's actually feeding it to inflation. I mean, with savings rates near zero and inflation averaging around 3%, he's silently losing thousands of dollars in real buying power every single year.
Just look at the cost of that so-called safety. Over 10 years, his 100 grand is still, well, 100 grand, just worth a whole lot less. Now, what if he had simply invested it in a basic S&P 500 index fund? You know, just a super low-cost way to own a tiny piece of the 500 biggest companies in the US. Well, that money would have grown to roughly $260,000. The savings account looked safe, but really it was just a slow bleed.
Now the second trap, this one feels like ambition. Marcus has real money now, right? So he thinks, okay, I've got to be a genius investor. Suddenly, he's up till midnight, buried in research on individual stocks, totally convinced he's going to be the one to find the next big thing that the market somehow missed.
Oh man, but the data on this is just brutal. The research firm Dalbar found that in 2024, the average investor, people trying to be clever, earned 16.5%.
At the same time, the S&P 500, just the plain old market benchmark, returned 25%. So why the gap? It's simple. They let their emotions take over. They bought high when things were exciting, they sold low when they got scared, they just got in their own way.
And if you think, well, the pros must do better, they don't. Over a 15-year period, more than 9 out of 10 professional fund managers, we're talking people with research teams and fancy degrees, failed to beat a simple, boring index fund. So the answer isn't to try and be smarter than them, it's to stop playing their game and just own the whole market.
Okay, the third trap is the quietest one. Psychologists call it the arrival fallacy. Marcus feels like he's made it. He thinks, I've earned the right to upgrade my apartment, or, stop tracking my spending so carefully. The thrill of hitting the goal fades away, but the discipline that got him there dissolves right along with it. He starts treating the starting line like it's the finish line.
So let's shift gears. We know exactly what not to do. Now let's build the actual framework to turn that 100 grand into a wealth building machine. And I'll let you in on a little secret. The most effective plan is also the most beautifully simple. Some might even call it boring. And that's a good thing.
This right here is your financial order of operations. Step 1, lock in your foundation. Get 3 to 6 months of your expenses into a high-yield savings account, not a regular one. Step 2, immediately capture your full 401k match from your employer. It's a guaranteed 50 or even 100% return. It's free money. Step 3, max out your tax-advantaged accounts. And then finally, step 4, invest everything else into a simple, low-cost portfolio. The order here is absolutely critical.
So let's zoom in on a couple of these accounts because they're so powerful. You've got the Roth IRA, which is just amazing. Your money grows and comes out completely tax-free in retirement. But then there's the Health Savings Account, the HSA, and this thing is the unsung hero of personal finance. It has what they call a triple tax advantage. Your money goes in tax deductible, it grows tax-free, and withdrawals from medical stuff are tax-free. It is, without a doubt, the most powerful financial tool in the entire tax code.
And for everything else, this is the answer. A simple, beautiful 3-fund portfolio. You just own the entire US stock market, the international stock market, and a little slice of bonds for stability. With just these 3 funds, you get diversified across more than 22,000 companies for a tiny fee of like 0.04% a year. That's it. You can stop trying to be clever, just own everything.
There's a huge mental shift that has to happen right here. For years, Marcus was a grinder. He was manually saving every single dollar. That era is over. His new job isn't to grind anymore. His new job is to be a guardian, to protect this machine he's built, and just let it do its work.
Remember this number? $8,000. This is where the machine starts humming. $8,000 a year in passive growth. This isn't just a number you watch on a screen anymore. It's a real force that's working for you, even while you sleep.
And just look at how that force scales. By the time his portfolio hits $500,000, it's generating $40,000 a year on its own. I mean, that's more than half of what Marcus currently earns at his day job, just for leaving his money alone.
The people who really build wealth from this point on, they aren't the ones who find the smartest investments. They're the ones who are willing to be relentlessly boring. They automate their savings, they ignore the daily market noise, and they protect the system. They get that the goal isn't to be clever, it's to simply get out of the way.
For 6 long years, Marcus did the hard work. He did the grinding. He built the engine. And now that engine is fueled up and ready to run for decades. The hard part is actually over. So the only real question left is the one right here on the screen. Your money is ready to work. Are you ready to let it?